Yo, yo, yo. What is good, y'all? It's been a minute. Mike Tyson is a boxer again. Cyberpunk became Atari's ET for this generation and nearly collapsed the entire game industry. Better get that brand new stimmy. That brand new stimmy from the government, baby. Spend that shit on whatever useless stuff we want to buy to make ourselves feel less empty. The world is steadily falling to pieces right before our eyes, and the coronavirus vaccine has people turning into the zombies from Resident Evil 5. Chill, actually. I don't want to get blacklisted by the Zuckmeister for spreading some false information. But through all this chaos, the one thing we can still count on is another installment in the Yakuza series. On this episode of With the Homies Review, Gaming Edition, we review Yakuza Like a Dragon for the Xbox Series X. Because, you know, you boy in that next gen wave, you feel me? The Yakuza series should be considered a delicacy of gaming, especially within Japan. It's an action series eerily reminiscent of the Shenmue series that has spawned over 15 years, first premiering on the PlayStation 2. The main series follows the series protagonist, Kiryu Kazuma, and his exploits in the criminal underbelly of Japan over nearly a 40-year period. But with Yakuza Like a Dragon, things take a drastic turn from the series norms. With this installment, the series follows the new protagonist, Ichiban Kasuga, and his exploits within the criminal underbelly of Japan over nearly a 20-year period. Wait, what? No, but seriously, this game is a huge deviation from what we would expect from a Yakuza game, while also staying masterfully grounded within the world and series. So without further ado, let's get right into it. As I said before, this is a major departure from the previous Yakuza games, with the series following a new protagonist, new locations, and new faces. The story of Yakuza Like a Dragon takes place in the year 2001 and details the life of Ichiban Kasuga, a grunt in the infamous Tojo clan's Arakawa family. Early on, you learn about his troubled upbringing from orphan to gang member, and his nearly childlike relationship with his patriarch. Until one evening, he is asked by his patriarch, the head of the Arakawa family, to go to prison for a murder that he did not commit to protect the presumed killer, Joe Sawashiro, the patriarch's right-hand man, who he himself considers indispensable. Ichiban jumps at the opportunity to repay his patriarch for all that he's done for him, while hoping that this would serve to make him the hero he always dreamed of becoming. 18 years later, Ichiban is released from prison, only to find that nobody remembers him, and the world that he once knew is very different. And what unfolds is a tale of heartbreak, action, suspense, betrayal, and revenge, all wrapped into a 50-plus hour experience. When it comes to gameplay, any fan that's been familiar with the series over the past 15 years may feel thrown through a bit of a loop. Gone are the days of the beat-em-up style fighting, a plethora of combat styles, and button mashing. This is the next generation, a JRPG style of combat reminiscent of the Persona series. The transition is almost like a reverse Final Fantasy, where it started out as turn-based and then went along the lines of an action RPG. With Yakuza Like a Dragon, you will find a variety of characters throughout the world that will join your party and fight alongside you throughout your journey. They all come equipped with their own unique abilities, special powers, job systems, and stat varieties. You can change equipment on the fly, make use of items during combat, and even after combat. You can even perform specific tag team special moves with certain characters in your party. The game makes use of timed events during combat, such as precision blocking to dodge, or better defend against attacks, and precision attacks to deal more damage with basic attacks. There are numerous mini-games and side quests you can complete as you play through the game to unlock items and earn more money and reputation, even just for shits and giggles. Hell, there's even Dragon Kart. The world of Yakuza is as rich as ever, and the game manages to do some really creative and endearing things as the story progresses. Plus, with the changes in scenery, with the story now taking place in the Ijincho district, you're in for some new faces, some new places, with a mix of some familiar ones in between. Yakuza Like a Dragon has about everything you would expect from a great JRPG, and nothing that you would expect from a typical Yakuza game. But that's not to say it's a bad thing. I personally love it, and I think it's a refreshing take on the series. I also think it will help to bring fans of the RPG genre to the series that would have otherwise never even touched it. Graphically, I would say this game is a step ahead of the rest. I may be a little biased because I'm playing it on an Xbox Series X, but nonetheless, I feel it would be great on any platform. It's not the type of game that relies heavily on graphics to begin with, focusing more on story, characters, and world building. But that's not to say that the graphics are a slouch. The cityscapes, characters, and NPCs are all well realized and alive, with even minor details being clear and crispy. You'll see some locations that you may remember from the mainline games that look more fleshed out and detailed than you might remember, which is definitely a good thing. There's really nothing else to say. Just go check it out for yourself. Now for a little bit of pros and cons. As for the pros, the Japanese RPG elements are definitely a welcomed addition to the series. And I wouldn't even be mad if this were to change the mainline games going forward. The combat is refreshing but familiar, while also being uniquely Yakuza. You feel right at home. The characters are all dense and interesting, and the fact that you get to fight alongside you make things even better. The vibes. It's hard to put this into words, but the game and its world just feel great, and to play it and be immersed in it is a wonderful feeling. The comedy. The comedic over-the-top side quests you remember and love from the main series are still as real as ever, with some really great moments where the game isn't afraid to poke fun at itself, or even other games and tropes within the JRPG genre. As for cons, the cutscenes and dialogue chains are still very long, and if you're a fan of this series, this is something you expect with every new installment. But for new fans, this can be a bit of a turnoff. But trust me, you get over it. The serious aspects of the game can often be diluted by some of the moments of comedic relief, and I can definitely see how that can ruin the immersion for some players and turn them off. While I personally love the combat, I can recognize that the same might not be true for serious longtime fans of the series. So I'll definitely relinquish the combat to both a pro and a con, just depending upon your perspective. But I definitely recommend to try it nonetheless. If you're a little skeptical thus far, I will preface by saying I'm a big fan of the Yakuza series, so you can maybe take everything I say with a little grain of salt. But if you're a longtime fan like me and understand the magic that is the Yakuza franchise, then you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. This is a love letter to fans, and also a love letter to the JRPG genre. Look, I was hesitant myself to play it. I was worried that it might be too different or that it might spoil my feelings for the series. And I was right. It is very different. But different is a great thing in this regard. This game touches on so many different genres, from action RPG to crime drama to kart racer to JRPG. There's just so much in between. I've always felt like the Yakuza franchise is an underrated gem. A if you know type of series, where you were either in the club or you didn't even know the club existed. and I love that the studio behind them, Ryugo Gotoku, drove to try something different in a world full of remakes, rinse and repeat games, in an industry where the status quo will get you the game of the year, and taking a risk can run your whole studio into the ground. Go and support a great studio and play Yakuza Like a Dragon. You will not be disappointed. And if you are, then I don't know, blame it on Cyberpunk. We all are anyway. This has been your homie Potter, and this has been another episode of With the Homies Review, Gaming Edition. And I'm giving Yakuza Like a Dragon 8.5 capitalist punishers out of 10.